This is my 2019 Chevy Colorado Z71 Crew Cab long box. That's a mouthful. I figured I bought the truck about 2 weeks ago now. I should do like a first impressions, how I feel about the truck, and then later on I'll give an update after I've had it longer and all the things I like and dislike. But right now this is just going to be a like and dislike so far. So first things first, this is the V6 model. Been into these since the new body style came out back in 2015. I really liked it, and I only seriously started looking at them the last year or so. And the original color that I wanted was the forest green metallic, or the deepwood green metallic, whatever it's called. But they discontinued that for the 2019 model year, but they replaced it with this color, and I saw this on the lot when it first came out and was so blown away, and I was like, oh, that's the color, like immediately. So overall, very happy with the truck. Haven't done a terribly large amount of things to it yet, mainly because I got the truck the way I wanted it for the most part. So it does have like the LT2 appearance package, so it has the chrome trim and everything instead of the blacked out, the gold Chevy badge, and you get them blacked out too. That's neither here nor there for me. I don't really care for that stuff much. Has the stocker style rims, which I actually really like. Factory running boards, which was one of the only things that I switched up from when I originally had wanted it. Was I wanted the chrome ones, but after seeing these on it versus the chrome ones, definitely preferred the look of these more. I went with the long box only because I want the room if I need it. That's, for the most part, it. So we're just going to do a walk around of all the things I like and dislike. Starting with, of course, the running boards. Love them. Don't really need them to get in, but it just adds to the look. The color is obviously one of my more favorite things about the truck. The truck rides and drives fantastic. I actually bought this to replace a 2004 Chevy Trailblazer. Has the rear window, open and closing rear window. I'm pretty sure that's standard on all of them. I don't think you can get rid of it. Z71 package. I actually got this with the towing package. One of the things that I thought would have been gimmicky though, and honestly kind of like it, is the side assist step. It's actually, for the most part, at the perfect height for me to just hop in, which normally on a truck I'll step there, but with the gate open you can't really do it. And also, one of the other things I like is the soft open gate. Again, something I thought would have been gimmicky, but I mean, working out of the truck, I've had other trucks and people tend to just slam the thing open. I always hold it when I open it, but I mean, not being able to do that and not having to hear that noise, that clunk it makes when it just drops open, kind of nice. I mean, stupid little things. It's got the drop-in bed liner, and that's actually one of the things that I settled on. The dealer that I went and looked at the truck at had the same exact truck, optioned pretty much exactly the same, but with the different running boards. But the big thing that it didn't have was the Bose on the interior. And I mean, in the Trailblazer, I did a full freaking stereo upgrade. Spent $1,000 on JBL equipment and everything, and $500 on a head unit out of the sub, and just went so overboard it's not even funny. But it was just the equipment. This, you have to pay tons of money just to get the thing to interface, and then you have to notch out the dash, and I was just I don't want to do that. I want it to be good enough. So I test drove the one they had, which the only other big difference was it had the spray-in bed liner, the chrome running boards, and it didn't have the Bose. And honestly, the only thing that I really miss is the spray-in bed liner. When I test drove another one, it wasn't the long box, but it had the Bose system, and I heard it, and I was just like, this is good enough to where it's acceptable to me, where I don't have to replace everything, go crazy like I did on the Trailblazer. So it's good enough. Other than that, I mean, on the exterior, that's pretty much it. I mean, the gas door being as big as it is a little bit annoying, but I guess it's because it has the port for the DEF for the diesel model. This is the V6 model, if I didn't already say that. And the third day I had this, I waxed it. It is it's a September, it's a late September build. So, if that means anything to you. Going to the inside though, one of the things that like I didn't need, but like it was nice it came with, was the all-weather floor liners. I work outside and I wear boots a lot, so I mean, while they're nice, I hate the ribbing and everything because it gets caught on the boots when I'm driving. Not comfortable to me. It's just what it is. But for the winter time when they're always wet and covered with snow, I'll leave them in. I'll probably take these out and put the carpet ones, because they threw in the carpet ones for free. In a couple weeks, once it's a little bit nicer out. You know, we're in April right now. The only other big thing that the differences between the two was they were both equipped with the towing package, but this one didn't have the trailer brake, the integrated trailer brake. I'm not going to be towing anything that, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to be towing anything that has trailer brakes. I'm going to be towing stuff that probably should have it, though. One of the big things that I changed my opinion on after I sat in the vehicles, though, was I had originally wanted the all-leather interior, and going between the leather seats and the leather pointed, which is just, you know, vinyl trim with the cloth insert, I totally love these seats way better than the leather. The leather was too stiff, and I mean, I felt the same way with the, my mom had bought a 2018 Tahoe, and I kind of felt the same way. Like, we test drove one that was cloth, and we test drove the one that was leather, and the leather was a lot firmer, and the guy was like, well, no, it'll soften up after you drive it. Well, we put about 12,000 miles on it since then, and they have not softened up at all. They're still pretty firm to me. Anyway, you know, nothing crazy. Pretty much all the options checked off. It has like the hill descent, tow, haul mode. You could shut traction control off. You know, the usual stuff. They're all equipped like this, unless you have the, I think the non-Z71 models, instead of this being like hill descent, it's like the lane departure alerts and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. That's neither here nor there. Charging pad, black interior, you know, the usual stuff. For the back row, I'm 5'11"-ish, a little closer to 6 foot. So this is about where I keep my seat positioned. And I mean, I went in and out back here just to see how, you know, how comfortable it was. And I think there's definitely a little bit more room in the back row in this than there is in the Trailblazer. And one of the things that I like about this versus the Trailblazer also is the Trailblazer has the cup holder thing down here. This actually has the center drop down armrest, so you get your cup holders in there. That's a nice touch. I like that. The lighting's in the center versus on the perimeter in the Trailblazer. I think that's a little bit better because, for the most part, anytime I dropped something in the truck, it always tended to fall down there, and that light actually hits there pretty well. I'll probably put LEDs in there eventually, but for now, it's fine. As far as the interior, that's pretty much it. That's really all I got to say about, like, you know, as delivered and everything like that. So I guess we'll get into some of the things that have changed since I bought it. Alright, so things that have changed, or I am changing now that, now that I have it. So the first thing was front window tint. I only did 35 because front tint's actually illegal in New Jersey. But I work out, I had said this before, I work outside, so anytime I could get away from a little bit of the sunlight, I'm going to try and do that. So I went with the 35 on the front, and the back has, you know, the factory 18 or 15 or whatever it is. The other thing I did was I added the in-channel weather guards, WeatherTech, you know, visors. I like to be able to leave the truck open, like when I'm working on longer jobs. I can just leave the windows cracked and keep the thing aired out, so it's not like 1,000,000,000 degrees, it's like 999 million or something like that. And I went with the in-channel ones because with the width of the gap here, I I think the stick-ons would look weird. One thing I will say though, they do add wind noise. Don't let anybody say they don't. It's not like horrible, and it's still way quieter than the Trailblazer, but it's enough that the truck was so quiet that when I stuck them on, you noticed it, but it's acceptable. It did the same thing on the Tahoe. And just to comment, one of the things that I did want was I didn't want the color matched pillar. I wanted the blacked out pillar only because I want somewhere when I get in and out of the truck, I always, even on the Trailblazer, grabbed about here to close. That had the color matched pillar, but the LT sticker was stuck on right about there. So trying not to mar the paint too much, so having that is nice. Visors, tint, other things that are being added. The truck's going for the spray and bed liner probably this week, and they're actually going to replace these bed rails. That was one of the few things that I'll get into in a little while, like things I disliked about the truck as it was delivered. It is what it is. They actually threw in the bed liner for free. It didn't have it in it, but they had one like laying around. They were like, "I'll just take it." I was like, "All right, cool." But they are going to replace these bed rail caps, and when they do the bed liner, they're actually going to come and they're going to split this parting line here and put this back on. So that's going to be nice. And I'm also probably going to pick up a tonal cover. I'm thinking the hard fold, like the G4 Elite, the folder cover. That's probably going to get added too. I didn't really add anything else to the interior. Actually, oh no, I did. I got that center console divider, which to me is something that the truck should have just came with. In the Trailblazer, it had like the ashtray cup holder here, and that's where I used to keep my change and everything for, like, you know, tolls and stuff. But, you know, cashless tolling's a thing now, so I don't really need that. But just having that's nice. We'll get into other things in a little bit, and dislikes. But honestly, that's something that the truck should have just came with, but whatever. And I'm also going to add the front bug deflector. I'm not going to do the stick-on. I'm actually going to do the one that you have to drill, the GM one. I think the stick-on looks tacky. That's just me. I mean, if you like it, it's your truck. More power to you. I don't really care either way. But to me, it just looks like somebody went with the J.C. Whitney catalog and said, "Ooh, that looks nice," and stuck it on. It's a little annoying. I mean, but again, if you like it, more power to you. It doesn't bother me either way. I see them with them. Guys who, you know, do little things to the truck. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. But that's just me. The only reason I'm doing the bug deflector, I mean, it looks nice, but also I drove this back and forth to work for 4 days, and on the fourth day, I freaking could not see out of the windshield how many dead bugs there were on it. So I'm hoping it improves it in some way, shape, or form, makes it a little better. But like, I had to scrub the windshield for a couple hours to get like all the dead bugs that were on it off. It was an experience, to say the least. Other than that, I mean, I'm not gonna really do anything else. Eventually down the line, once these tires wear out, I'm gonna probably get the same tires but with the outline white lettering, only because it adds something else to look at on the truck. I always like that. That's just me. And probably eventually down the line too, I'm gonna do the drop-in projector retrofit, because I had that on the Trailblazer. I did it with the Morimoto Mini H1 6.0s, and that was like probably the single best thing I ever did to that truck. But the headlights on that truck were actual trash. Like these, once you have the fog lights on, it's tolerable. But I do a lot of highway driving with not a lot of vehicles around, like up and down the turnpike later in the day, at night. So it would be nice to have headlights that light up the road a little bit better, in my opinion. I mean, they're tolerable. They're not the worst headlights I've ever driven with. Other than that, that's really it on things I'm going to add to it for now. Alright, so we're going to go into the things that I dislike about the truck now, I guess. So dislikes, you know, things that I found wrong with it, etc. upon delivery. I am super, super, super anal about my vehicles. So the one that they had on the lot, even though I knew I wasn't going to buy it, I still like looked it over and just checked it out to see, you know, what it was about. And I found a couple like paint runs, fish eyes on the body, and like even if I was thinking about buying it, that would have turned me off immediately just because of how anal I am. Like I like to know how everything on it happened, but so when one of the things was when they were going to swap this out, this truck was actually at another dealership. We after like I knew I wanted this like this style truck, this color, etc. We did a cross search with my option list, and we found this at another dealer about 5 miles, 10 miles, like, you know, line of sight away. It was like a 30-mile trip to get it, but it had apparently been sitting for a while because when they picked it up and drove it, you know, they told me the route that they took, and like I know roughly, again from working what I do, I knew roughly how many miles it was from that point to that point. And when I took delivery of it, the truck had 34 miles on it, so it was pretty much on the nose, 30 miles that they drove. So basically, this truck got brought to that other dealership and just sat there. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better about it. Like, you know, it wasn't really beat on too much. I don't know the guy personally who actually drove it between the two dealerships, but he's a friend of my friend at that dealer who sold me this truck, and he was like, he's the only guy. He's like, I know how you are. He's the only guy I would let take it. So I trust him that he didn't like beat the absolute crap out of it. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. But anyway, I looked over this truck before I went in and actually put the deposit down and then signed the paperwork for the financing. And I combed it over and like searched every single inch of the truck for probably an hour in the parking lot before I signed paperwork. And I mean, I couldn't find anything wrong on the body at all. Like it was flawless. Everything was straight. I mean, even the hood gaps, like for GM, the hood gaps are even really good. So I was happy. I found two fish eyes on the roof, but it was just the base coat. The clear coat is completely over it, and you can see the primer underneath it. So they're so tiny, like I'm talking like needle point, but they're there. But I mean, for it to happen anywhere, I'm okay with it on the roof. I don't look at the roof. It's fine to me. The only actual thing that I found wrong with it, and the dealer is going to fix it before they do the bed liner, and I saw it like immediately. If you look there, you can see that rail is actually bent and scratched up, and nobody could seem to figure out why. The best thing that I came up with was, at one point, this had a tonneau cover on it, perhaps, and I guess it was one of the ones that actually like clamps in place. But I mean, if you look, it's all twisted and everything. So the dealership that it came from, he had called them and said, hey, you know, we found this thing, and they were like, well, send us a picture. And he sent them the picture, and they were like, yeah, no, they're like, don't worry about that. We'll, whatever it costs, bring it to a body shop, have it fixed. So what they're going to do is, when I drop the truck off next week for, you know, the bed liner and everything, they're going to take it to the body shop first, fix it, respray it, send me pictures, have me come look at it, make sure it's up to me good, and then after that, they're going to do the bed liner. So that's going to be that. But that's the only real thing that I found wrong with it. I mean, there was a little bit of surface rust on a couple of the shackle bolts for the rear leaf spring, but they're just like, you know, plated steel bolts. That's going to happen. Other than that, though, I mean, the truck was perfect, so I'm good with that. You know, I've heard nightmares of people having trucks delivered and, you know, them getting, like, dropped off carriers. Actually, and not me, but my father, when he took delivery of one of our company trucks, well, one of my grandfather's company trucks, the guy was telling him about how they had like this special, it was like a 99 Tahoe limited edition thing, and they dropped it off the top of a car carrier, and like they resprayed the whole thing, and the guy never noticed. And I'm just like, you shouldn't be telling people about that. Anyway, some other gripes of mine, and this is, again, stupid things. First things first, Parking brake. For me, I keep my foot here. And this is like kind of tapping my shin, so I actually have to keep my foot over a little bit. It is what it is. I could probably bend the bracket a little bit and get like the extra 1/4 inch of clearance it needs, but I mean, at this point I'm already used to it. I just slide my foot back a little bit from where I normally keep it, and it's fine. Something else though, full power seats is on the the spec sheet. Why is the backrest manual? Like, why is that a thing, huh? Like, that's just stupid. Again, just a gripe of mine. And something else too, why isn't there memory seats, like power memory seats? Like stupid little things. I mean, you drop a pretty good chunk of change on this, and it doesn't have things that cars from 10 years ago had. It does have the tinting mirrors though, which I kind of like. Something else though, when they added this charging pad, I think, or maybe it was just something they changed for the 2019 model year, because I have 2 USB ports down there. They axed the USB port in this console here. It's just a block plate. So I don't like to leave like my iPod or my phone or anything like that out visible in the open. So it would have been really nice to be able to just hook it up in here and leave it in here, but can't do that either. That's not a huge deal breaker to me. Something else though, the headrest doesn't tilt. It just goes up and down. And I mean, it's at a good enough angle for me, but I could see other people where they would want it to tilt back a little bit. I mean, not anything that's a deal breaker, but it's a little bit annoying. And I mean, something else, it doesn't have the garage door opener controls. That I don't know if you can actually option in either, unless it's in a convenience package. I could be wrong on that, and if I am wrong, let me know. But, stupid little things that, like, you would expect it to have, but it doesn't. I don't know. And the only other real big thing I can complain about, and this is honestly, like, just stupid, is the under seat storage in this is atrocious. And I haven't opened it up enough to actually remember how to even do it right now, so forgive me. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Come on. There we go. Yeah, that's like abysmal. Why even have this little plastic knockout at this point, Just put a bar that runs right across with 2 feet. At least I could actually store stuff. Like, in the Trailblazer, I was able to keep some of my tools under the rear seat, but, like, I don't know, I could probably toss a drill, maybe. A battery or 2. It's not like, again, not a deal breaker to me, but just something that's annoying. Other than that, though, nothing to really complain about, just little nitpicky things. And I mean, I'm sure going on owning the truck, I'll find more little things. Oh, yeah, a big one. It's actually 2. The lack of rear climate control. The Trailblazer just had a little vent here that you could turn on and off, and it piggybacked off the passenger side. And it, you had rear seat climate control. That's just kind of annoying, but the AC in this works well enough that, like, the couple of warmer days that we've had in April, we've had a couple of days that have gotten up to 80. I took, like, Dad and Mom around, and, they were comfortable, but it's just something that's annoying. But the other big thing that I'm not a huge fan of, why isn't this dual zone climate control? Why is it only one temperature selector? The Trailblazer had 2 options. It had a radio and it had cruise control. But it had standard dual zone climate control. It was manual, but it had it. Why is that not even available on here? That annoys me more than anything. And that's something that I don't think I could change. And I mean, the other thing, nitpicky, if I'm going to be nitpicky, I like gauges. So I would have liked an oil pressure gauge on this as well. Maybe a transmission temp gauge. And I mean, I know you can get to them on the driver information center. That's fine. But, like, I like seeing actual physical gauges. That's just me. But the last big thing, and it's actually under the hood that I got to show you. And, I was super anal when I combed over this truck. The under the hood was, dusty, but, immaculate. Well, about 2 days after I had it, I opened the hood while I was washing it. And if you look at that, that's a pretty serious amount of corrosion there. And it's actually dripping down onto the engine cover as the thing runs. And that kind of scares me a little bit because the Trailblazer is a 2004 and it has like 220,000 miles on it. And the AC lines don't look like that. The AC lines look like that. So to me, that's a problem. And that's actually the last thing I addressed with them at the dealership when they were going to fix the bed rail was, I just want that documented. I don't need it replaced, but if, like, it does fail, I want it documented that I brought it in, like, within 4 days of owning it. So that if anything does come of it, it's like, oh, yeah, no, it was documented. Hey, that actually ended up being a recall or a defect or something like that. If I had to guess, to me, it looks like I can't say it's a weld. I don't think you weld like these type of lines. I think they're brazed, actually. Maybe even smelted. I don't know. But to me, it just looks like they used like the acid to clean it and then didn't like properly prep and then recoat the line. But I mean, like, that's pretty bad corrosion for a truck that's 2 weeks old. 100 miles. 1,100 miles. Other than that, though, nothing really to say under here. I do like that the transmission cooler on these is external. I actually added one of those to my Trailblazer to keep the temps down when I was towing. In the summertime, the hottest I ever got was like 180 without towing and like 200 with towing, which is very acceptable trans temps for me. Using like a Dex 3 or Dex 6. They don't really start to break down until you get into that 220 range. And if we're going to complain, this is a like and a dislike. I like when you drive the thing that you don't see the windshield wipers, but this tray catches every single speck of dirt, debris, anything that falls off of that tree, and they always get caught under the wiper and you get streaks across the windshield. I don't know why. I like it and I don't like it, but like that's just annoying more than anything. But other than that, no complaints. Like the truck, like the fog lights, like the chrome trim, like everything else about it. And, as long as that AC line gets fixed and, the transmission doesn't blow up like supposedly they can, I don't think I'll really have any problems with it. I've enjoyed it so far. I did the whole 500 mile not going above 55 thing. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Did a lot of varied throttle. Brought it up to like 445 on the tack, let it shift. Coasted to stops as best as I could. And, just to get the ring seated and everything, even though, like, you don't really have to do that anymore. But I figured, if I have the time, why not? So, Monday, a week ago from tomorrow, was the first day I actually, like, took it on the highway and drove to work. But, I mean, the thing drives fantastic. I'm totally in love with it. And, honestly, I think it drives better than the Tahoe in every measurable metric. The Tahoe just feels too big and bouncy and weird. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. This, to me, if like I ever had the chance to drive a Trailblazer when it was new, I'd imagine this is what it drives like, because even the electronic power steering in this, like, it feels really good. Like, normally I complain about electronic power steering. Like, we have a couple of cruises, like 2012, 2014. I don't like it. We have the 2016 Silverado. Don't like it. We have a 2018 Tahoe. Don't like it. I mean, well, the Cruise is my sister's car. The other Cruise is my cousin's car. The Silverado is my aunt's car, the truck, and the Tahoe's mom's car. But, like, not a huge fan of the electronic power steering, but this one's really good. It actually almost feels like real power steering, and the truck drives exactly how I'd expect it to drive, which leads me to the last complaint that I have with it. Turning radius on the thing is not great. I mean, it's what, 22 and a half feet, I think, is what GM rates the long box crew cab at. And I mean, the '07 over there is the extended cab long box, but the wheelbase is about the same. And I'm pretty sure the turning radius on that is about the same too, but I don't have problems pulling that into a parking spot. I have problems pulling this into a parking spot. I don't know if it's just because, like, driving the Sierra, like, I know that I'm driving something big and you don't notice that this is actually as long as it is. It could be, you know, any number of things, but for the most part, I won't complain otherwise. I will say that the Tahoe, for as big of a truck as it is, has a freaking awesome turning radius, though. That thing has a circle to circle, like 19 feet. Like, I throw that around almost as easily as I throw around the Trailblazer, but the Trailblazer has an 18-foot turning radius. I could turn that around on, like, pretty much any street without having to do a K-turn. That truck, I did my road test in that truck and did parallel parking, and they have pretty tight parallel parking spots, and I just, like, whipped it right in there. It was awesome. But, I mean, hey, overall, happy with the truck. Gonna enjoy it, get my use out of it. Hopefully I'll start towing with it in a couple weeks and I can give a towing impression video too, but for now, that's it. I don't think I need to take you guys on a road test or anything like that. I could do that for the update video. Other than that, that's it. So, thanks for watching. Any comments, let me know. Talk to you later.